If I wanted to buy a house, the one I like to use, but I'm getting old and nobody else may recognize it, is kind of a takeoff on Johnny Cash's Cadillac, where he assembled a Cadillac by stealing parts from the assembly line over a period of 10 or 12 years. And the gist of the song is he had a Cadillac, and it was a 1957, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63 Cadillac. And of course it was an ungainly look. If I wanted to build a house and I had, I don't know, $100 a month that I could pay on building a house, one of the ways I could do it is every month I could go down to the hardware store and spend my $100 and go back and do something. And then in about 20 years, I'd have a 1957, 58, 59, 60, and so on house. But I wouldn't have had the benefit of being able to live in the house, at least for probably the first 5 to 10 years, before I got a roof up and some plumbing in it that would allow me to live in. I wouldn't have a kitchen in because that would be further down the line. See, so what leverage, if I have this stream of revenues that I'm willing to commit, and instead of doing it on a piece-by-piece basis, what leverage allows me to do is borrow instead of, if I had $1,200 a year to make in house payments, well, that's not a lot anymore, but I could probably afford, I don't know, something like a $40,000 house if such a thing exists. But adjust the numbers as you like. So if it's $1,000 a month, it doesn't matter. So then I can buy a $250,000 house because I can take out a mortgage and my payments will be within the amount of money that I was willing to pay. So that's a short way of looking at what leverage does. I take my revenue stream and instead of using it little bits at a time, I use that revenue stream to borrow funds from somebody who will lend me the money, and I take the money and do what I wanted to do, but I'm still making that same stream of payments across a period of time. What I pay for that is interest. In your case, the question is whether the cost of interest on borrowing for you is equal to or less than the rate of inflation. If it's equal to the rate of inflation, and I'm going to forget a whole bunch of stuff, like there's some other math that goes along with this, but just for rough approximations, if inflation rate and interest costs were the same, then you wouldn't be hurt to borrow because you would have built it all at today's cost instead of the inflated cost over time. If interest rates that you pay are lower than the rate of inflation, then you actually benefit from borrowing because you can buy more than you would have been able to buy by spending the money over time. And in a shorthand way, that's the concept of leverage. For you today, what happens with, say, $10,000 a day, or say $10 million for debt service? Yeah, $10 million for debt service. And interest rates are extraordinarily low today, but I'm guessing that you could borrow somewhere in the neighborhood of 220 million with $10 million for debt service over about a 20 to 25 year term. Maybe a little bit longer than that term, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But instead of spending $10 million a year, you're going to get to spend $220 million up front today at today's construction cost instead of paying construction costs 20 years in the future.